The laying the draw strategy is a strategy that has been probably one of the most easy to follow strategies. It is one that most beginners like to follow. It is one that people like to try and teach you if you're just getting into it, because it is fairly simple. You can either go in at the start of a game, at the midpoint of a game, and all you're going to do is lay the draw, wait for a goal to go in, preferably from the favourite in the game, and you're going to cash out for a profit. It is that simple. But what I'm going to show you guys today in this video is the huge variety of different outcomes that happen with a laying the draw trade. And the way I'm going to do that is something people might frown against. Now, this isn't something I'd recommend in the slightest. This video is purely just for a bit of fun to see what actually happens with trades like this. I'm going to do this for a few trades, a few different methods, everything like that. I'm going to do this quite often. So you might be wondering exactly what we're going to do. And what we're going to do is I'm going to load up the Premier League, if I can find that on Betfair, and I can. You can see here, coming up this Saturday, these are the selection of football games on Betfair. Now, what I'm going to do this Saturday, and maybe the Sunday and Monday as well, depending on how the Saturday goes, is I'm going to lay the draw on every single fixture. Now, that might seem like a really idiotic decision to anyone who's a trader, because it is. It 100% is an idiotic decision. Regardless of the outcome of this video, if I end up making a huge amount of profit, if I end up making a huge loss, anything like that, don't do this. This is just a little bit of an experiment to see what happens, to see what different variety of results we get, what happens when 3 of them end in a draw, or 2 of them, the underdog wins, things like that. We're going to try and massively overload ourselves with work this weekend and see exactly how it goes. I won't show you guys too much of it. I'll maybe grab 2 or 3 of the games that look a bit weird and they were a bit harder to manage, but I'll show you guys obviously the result of all the games. So I'll show you guys me placing all the lay the draws, I'll show you guys when I cash out of all the lay the draws, and I'll go in a bit more detail with how tricky some of the markets were. I'm explaining this all now because I feel like if I try to explain this on the Saturday morning just before I place the trades, it would probably be a bit rushed, so I don't want to do that. Again, I cannot stress this enough. The laying the draw strategy and any trading strategy should not be applied like this. You should do some research on the game, watch the games live, look at the stats, look at how the teams are playing, know your exit points. I am obviously going to find this impossible to micromanage each of these games, keep an eye on how everyone's playing, have all my exit points ready. It's going to be very tricky and overwhelming, but I just think this will be a very interesting little experiment to see what happens when we do this. Over the course of the next few months, in between when I try to explore new strategies, I'll come back and do it for more strategies themselves. So maybe I'll try the under 2.5 goals for every game. Maybe I'll try the correct score strategy for every game as well. I'm just going to do it on the Premier League games because they have the most liquidity, so they'll be quite easy, and they're easy to get all the score information from and to see the performances, because I do want to try and keep as track as much as I can on all these games. If you think you're going to enjoy this or want to recommend a strategy that I try this out on to see how bad it goes, then please let me know in the comments. Again, don't follow this along, don't do it yourself. It is going to be a stupid decision. If we make money off this, then great, but it's not going to happen every time. Everyone knows that. Let me know if you've ever tried anything like this before yourself down below, and if you want to try and be a little bit cheeky, try and guess how much we're either going to make or how much we're going to lose in this video, and we'll see how close you can get. I might give a prize out if you get the closest, who knows. But let's see exactly how this goes, and I'll update you guys. Not live, I'm not going to record my reactions live to this. I think that would really throw things over the top. But I'll update you guys with the footage once everything has been done and dusted. So let's see how this goes. Here we have it then. So right now what I'm going to be doing is taking you guys through pretty much every game that happened. I'm not going to take too long explaining things because obviously you guys, I'm pretty sure, will be more than familiar with the laying the draw strategy by now. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys what my thought processes were throughout the games and at different points, It's going to be a bit random, a bit fast-paced. That's why there's no webcam. It's also, there's no webcam because I'm suddenly ill. I'm sure you guys have probably got that awful cold thing that's going around at the moment, so hopefully you sympathise with me there. But let's get started. So we first of all had the Chelsea-Manchester City game, and that was the first game of the day. Now, when it comes to laying the draw, I don't know if any of you have got a quick suggestion for how you can quickly calculate the right amount to put on, because I wanted to put as close to £20 as possible. So every time, as you can see here, I'm basically counting down the pennies to try and get the right stake to put on. If any of you have a really quick just calculation you can do, where it does just tell you the right amount to place, then please do let me know. I think all of us would love to find that out. So you can see we went with £8.69 over there for the lay in the draw in the Chelsea City game, which was £19.99. Straight over then to the next game, which was the Man United Villa game. Whilst I'm placing this bet here, to just let you guys know, I think I couldn't have chose a worse weekend to choose this method, because it seemed like every game either went to a draw or had a late goal in. And obviously, if you're familiar with laying the draw, you're not going to stick in the market if it's a draw late on, unless you want to lose your stake, because the whole point in trading is that we don't lose our full stakes, otherwise we'd just be better off betting. So there was a few times where you'll see later on in this video that we just got incredibly unlucky with the timings of the goals in these games. And at some points there were moments I regret, moments I know myself I should have done better. But again, it's hard to keep track of everything that's going on with this. You'll also notice later on in this video, because I wasn't taking this too seriously, because it is just meant to be a bit of fun, a little bit of an experiment, I did end up going out on the night time. So the Liverpool-Brentford game, let's just say that wasn't my decisions. That was someone else who took over me a few pints in. But obviously this is just meant to be a bit of fun. This isn't serious trading. This isn't me being really tactical about it and calculating things. This is purely just a little bit of fun to see what happens if you laid the draw for every game. I would have ended up making more money if I just laid the draw and left everything, but I wanted to try and have a little bit of micromanagement involved. So you will also see, you'll understand at which point the alcohol starts based on when it switches from being this lovely web-based view of Betfair to a mobile phone version of Betfair. But like I said, a little bit of fun. If you want me to do this seriously and fully sit down and do it for a whole day, maybe we could do that on a live stream one Saturday and just do it over here on YouTube, do the whole thing live, and you guys can have an input as goals go in. Might be something worth looking into. But you can see there, we have £19.99 again on the next game. So that was the first two stakes put down. So then we just waited to see what happened in the games. The first trade was very simple. It was the Chelsea-Man City game, and the goal went in for Manchester City. So at this point, I was kind of debating, do we just cash out quickly, get a nice 10-15% profit there, or do we take our stake out? Do we wait for a second, hopefully? It was quite a close game though, so I was willing to just sit on it for a few minutes, and then as you can see, as time goes on, just a little bit here, I think, and you can see there actually, yeah, I do lower my liability here. So I take out just a few pounds, take out £4 worth of our stake, I think, and it drops our liability down from £20 down to £5. So it was just a nice little quick way to, it was a quick way to make sure that we didn't lose our full stake, essentially. So as you can see there, we left that game with £5 in it and £4.60 on either team to win. And then not too later in the game, literally just a few minutes later, I decided just to go for it. It was getting very close, very nervy. I thought, you know what, I don't think there's going to be another goal in this game. We'll just cash out our profit. And as you can see there, we got £2.82 profit from the first game. So a really nice little quick return. And if I just quickly work it out on my phone what percentage that is, it's a nice 14%. So not too bad at all for the first game of the day. But then we come to the Manchester United and Aston Villa game. And as you can see here, at this point, we were £5.50 down. It was a 0-0 still in the game, but as I get up the stats here and show you guys what was going on in the game, you can see Man United were completely dominating. But the thing that had me a little bit concerned here was the quality of the chances. Man United didn't have a single big chance, and I'm saying that in quotation marks, but they didn't have a single big chance in the game, which was a bit worrying, especially when you look at Villa, who had 3 and had missed all 3. So I was kind of already at this point thinking maybe we get out of this market. It looks like one team is there to sit back, and they've been able to get a few counters in here. Man United haven't been able to break them down. If there's going to be a goal in this, it's going to be a late one. So my initial thoughts here were maybe we just get out as soon as we can to reduce that loss. But we left this little clip here at the 63rd minute with a £6 loss in there, and I decided, no, Man United have been dominating this game, they just need the one chance. So I'm going to leave it an extra 10-15 minutes maybe, and we'll see where we're at. Normally with my laying the draw, I like to get out between the 75th and 80th minute, depending on how the game's going. If the game is complete and utter domination, with loads of massive chances, and it's just luck that the goal hasn't gone in, I might be willing to let it ride out for the whole game. But 9 times out of 10, I'm looking between that 75th and 85th minute and thinking, I need to be really evaluating the situation at that point in the game. And you can see, 76th minute there, I checked the stats again, and from what I was seeing on Twitter as well, Man United were really going for it, but Villa was staying strong. And it didn't look like there was any chances coming for Manchester United. And most of you will actually know from watching Man United that they do tend to be a fast team off the mark, sometimes quite early goals. So I just thought, £8.84, let's get out at this point, take this one as a loss and move on. Which gave us our first loss of the day, and that came in at 44%. So one profit at the moment, 14%, one loss, 44%. Not looking too great as things stood, but in hindsight at this game, I should have done one of two things. I should have either got out earlier on when I looked at the opportunity and it was at £5 loss, because at that point I still didn't think there was a goal going in. So at that point I should have either said to myself, right, we'll wait and run it out for the game in case one comes later on, or we'll get out now. Because at that point I did honestly think a goal was only going to come in like the 85th minute plus. So in reality, me getting out with the 75th minute here was probably the first mistake of the day. But I'm sure you guys will probably have some other thoughts on this as well. As you'll know though, the goal did come in this game towards the end, and obviously there was nearly a draw as well with the late penalty that was missed by Bruno Fernandes. But I think in hindsight, I should have done one or two things at that situation in the 60th minute. I should have either cashed out for the loss, or I should have let it ride for the full 90. And I think me giving it the extra 10 minutes when I didn't think there was going to be a goal anyway was a poor choice. So unfortunately, this was a bit of a mistake on that part. We then have the next game, where as you can see here, we have Leicester-Burnley. If I just drag this along quite quickly, you can see we got in with exactly £20 for Leicester-Burnley. With Newcastle-Watford, we managed to get in for, I believe, close to £20 yet again. You can see there £20 and 1 pence. So we got into the Watford-Newcastle game. We then went to Leeds-West Ham, where we got put in for £20 1 pence yet again. And then Everton-Norwich was the final game of the 3 o'clocks, where again we got in for £20 and 1 pence. So a nice little selection of games there chosen. So let's see how I managed to manage these, albeit quite poorly. Let's see how I managed these games. Now in the first game, which was the Leicester-Burnley game, we had the first goal come in. Now Burnley took the lead, so if you're new to laying the draw, you might think, great, if teams took the lead, you can get some quick profit here, but that's not the case. If it's the case of the underdog taking the lead, the draw kind of becomes the more favoured result, because they don't expect the underdog to hold on to the lead, especially this early in the game. And they might not at this point either expect the favourite to then win the game. So drawing the game does become the most likely outcome. So although here Burnley have took the lead, if we were to cash out, we would take a loss. So with that in mind, this one we obviously just let run, because it was early in the game. Leicester have time to get into it, or Burnley have time to add a second. Either way, there was only going to be one way our profit will go in this game, regardless of what score comes. If Leicester score, they're getting back into it. It looks like they might be able to win. Burnley score, adds to their favour, adds to the laying the draw aspect there as well. We then had Leeds take the lead as well. Now, I think we were quite unfortunate with the fixtures this week, because I think there was no real clear favourites for the games, apart from the Norwich-Everton game, where Everton were the clear favourites. So I think any goals in these games would not have give you as much profit as you would get from other games when laying the draw, because of the fact that the teams were quite closely matched. So that is something you've also got to consider. I think maybe if we'd have done this in a less competitive league, shall we say, where there are clear winners and losers every week, we would have made a bit more profit when the goals have gone in. But like I said, this is just a bit of fun. So you can see there, with the Leeds taking the lead, we could get a quick profit, but for that amount of profit there, it was a 3.5% profit at the 70 pence mark. I'm not going to be too fussed about that, so we would definitely let that one ride. Another game here, again, another goal going in, Newcastle taking the lead against Watford. Again, very small profit to be extracted there, purely because, again, neither team here was really favourite for this game. Watford probably went in with a bit of an edge, but again, regardless of which team scored in this game, you'd say the profit wouldn't have changed too much, because they are quite close and quite evenly matched. It really is for the majority of the games this weekend, and I think most weekends in the Prem, unless you have a clear favourite, it's going to be possibly the 2-goal mark or a late goal mark where you're going to be getting your profit from laying the draw. But one game, as you can see here, where we did get a big bit of profit was the game I was on about before, Everton and Norwich. Everton took the lead and they were the favourites, as you'd expect, and you can see there the profit for cash out was instantly available for £2.73, which is just over the 10% mark, and a really good return for laying the draw. This game by itself would have been a great game for laying the draw. Quickly get in, wait to the 31st minute, a goal goes in, you cash out, you get your profit. But again, like the Manchester City Leicester one, apologies to the Manchester City Chelsea game, I decided just to take out a little bit of my stake. So you can see here we went from £20 liability down to £6.51. It just gives us a bit more movability. It doesn't instantly take us out. It allows us to potentially get some extra profit out of this. So you can see here at this point of the game, we would have got £2.72. This allows us to stay in the trade for about another 10-15 minutes, maybe another hour or so, to be able to see if there's the opportunity to get a bit more profit. And then if it does come back to bite us and Norwich do go on to score, we'd only be losing the £6.51, which is less than what you'd lose on a normal laying the draw trade, as you saw earlier on from the Manchester United Villa game. We then have the Leicester goal coming against Burnley. This one doesn't make too much of a difference. If anything, it kind of helps us because it puts the favourite, which was Leicester, back in control again. So one more goal there from Leicester and we'd be right back in profit. So although it's not incredible because it is now a draw again, it is a more favourable draw than when Leicester were winning 1-0 or when Burnley were winning 1-0. And then just to complicate things a little bit more, 4 minutes later, Burnley go and grab themselves a goal again. And the weird thing here is they still weren't the favourites for this in terms of the cash out value of the laying the draw. So you look here, £1.61 loss at 1-1. £1.61 loss at 2-1 Burnley. The market really did not think too much of Burnley here at all. So with that in mind here, it still believes it's probably around about the same likelihood that the game won't end in a draw anymore. Or that the game will, however which way you want to look at it. So I was really stumped by this result, to be honest. I was hoping for another result here like the Everton-Norwich game. Quick goal by Leicester, quick cash out, quick profit. But we didn't get that. It was a really tricky weekend this weekend. But we move on. And next up, we now have the phone footage. So this is where probably my decisions start to go a bit worse. So here we go. So this is just a quick little preview screen of how all our trades were getting on at this point. We've got a loss up at Leicester Burnley, a loss at Watford Newcastle, a slight profit at Leeds West Ham, and a decent profit, obviously kind of semi-locked in with Everton Norwich. Moving on, an extra 10 minutes there, you can just see the changes if I flick between the two. Leicester and Burnley, slightly less of a loss now because the game's gone on a little bit more, but still nothing that will be worth looking into about whether or not we should cash out. Leeds West Ham, the profit actually dropped down, which kind of showed us that West Ham were getting into the game a little bit there. We then also have the increase in profit there from the Watford Newcastle game, just because Newcastle were holding on the lead, performing a little bit better as well. But again, still not at a level there where you'd want to be cashing out. And you can also see down with Everton Norwich, only a little bit of an increase on the profit loss there as well. But talking of Everton Norwich, Everton grabbed a second goal here in the 75th minute, making our profit then go to a total of £4.27. So I was quite happy with that one. So I went and cashed out. And you can see there, £4.27 gives us a nice return of 21.4%, which is a very nice return for a trade like this. Obviously, we were a bit more calculated with this one. We took some of our liability out when we had a chance, and we let the game run on. We got the second goal. That was the perfect laying the draw trade for us. Nice 20% return, never in doubt. 2-0 victory. Couldn't have asked for more with that one. But then Watford got back into it against Newcastle and managed to get the equaliser, which was a big hit for us, considering the fact that about 2 minutes prior to this goal going in, we were looking at around about £1 profit, which although it's only 5%, I was thinking about getting out of that. Because I was watching that game live and I could see it getting a bit scrappy, either side going for it a lot. Lots of end-to-end chances, and I wanted out of that game. But the goal did come, unfortunately, and with it being quite late in the game, in the 76th minute, I decided to cut the losses there and just get straight out of that. I did see a goal coming in that game, but I also saw it being completely end-to-end, and I really didn't know which way it was going to go. So although I did expect a goal to come in this game, and probably should have held on, because I thought there was a goal coming, I instead decided just to get out, because I did think a goal was coming, but I also thought the game would still end in a draw, and rightfully so for me in this situation, or thankfully so, I should say, the game did end 1-1, which means we got out at the exact right time there, getting our little £10 loss. Obviously, the right time to cash out would have been about 2 minutes before Watford scored, when Newcastle were at the highest potential for some little bit of profit, but it was around 5%. I don't think anyone else would have been getting out at that point unless you were being really cautious with your trade and really micromanaging it. But that leaves us with that trade at a 50.6% loss. So you can see there, the losses are a lot bigger than the profits. We only got 14% profit, 21% profit, but then 44% loss, 50% loss. This is why this video should highlight to you the importance of game selection when it comes to laying the draw, because although it's a simple and easy trade to learn the ideas behind it, it can still be complex. And if you get one trade wrong, it can wipe out 2-3 games worth of profit. So it is vital that you really do select the right game, micromanage fully. Don't do this and have 5-6 games going on at a time. We then also, unfortunately, like I said, got incredibly unlucky. Once again, I was about to cash out of the Leeds West Ham game. Literally loaded it up, ready to cash out, and then my cash out dropped massively because of a West Ham goal. And like I was saying, I didn't know what was going on in this game. I didn't know if a team was dominating, if a team wasn't dominating. I didn't know if it looked likely a goal was going in. This is why you should never try and do this with your trades. You should watch the games and have a decent understanding of what's going on. Because when a goal goes in like this, you will kind of know whether or not you can carry on with the game, carry on with the match, and hope a winner comes, or whether to just cash out instantly. And obviously in this situation, trying to stay a little bit logical, I thought to myself, I don't know what's happening in this game. I would rather lose £9 now rather than the full 20 in a few minutes. So we got out there. We ended up getting out for £8.92 loss. And although in the end of this game, West Ham did go on to win it through an Antonio goal, that Antonio goal did come in the 90th minute. So I think in this situation, it probably was right to get out of the trade at this point, because if I was going to leave the trade in till the 90th minute, that's more of a bet than a trade. So I think, although the end result would have been better if we'd left it in, I think 9 times out of 10, I made the right choice there to stay out of the trade and cash out when I didn't know what was going on within the game itself. But that loss there was again another 44.6%. So again, really high at that 50% threshold. And with only 2 winning trades here to show you today, we can't really look into the potential profits. I think the Everton Norwich game is the best example of a profit from this trade. and that was around 20%. So with that being around 20%, it does kind of look like one loss wipes out two wins from this strategy. So that's important to keep an eye on, but obviously it will be variable for every game. And we have one final game left to talk about, which is the Leicester-Burnley one. Again, I went to cash out about 2 minutes before there was a goal. And in fact, in this time, I honestly think I'd forgotten that this game was going on. Another problem you can get when you're micromanaging so many games is just forgetting what's going on with them. So in this situation, I went there to check the scores, and I saw that, unfortunately, Leicester had grabbed an equaliser. It's too late in the game here for Leicester to then become the favourites again, so it really did eat into our profit there. And this is another one where that was my mistake. About 5 minutes before this, 75th minute onwards, would have been the perfect opportunity to cash out in this situation. Yes, the profit still won't have been too high because Burnley was still winning. It will still have only been possibly around £1 at the most. But I think at this point, you have to evaluate the two teams. If you gave me this trade on a normal day and said Burnley are 2-1 up, you're laying the draw, it's the 75th minute, what do you do? And I'd honestly say just take whatever profit you've got right now. Because although Burnley are a strong defensive team, they're not going to be the ones who are pushing for an extra goal here. They're going to be sat back. So I should have cashed out earlier on that one. That one there, along with the Liverpool game I'm about to show you, is fully my mistake. So we made a £12 loss there. If we just look at the final result, £12.91 loss. This was after Leicester grabbed a goal. Don't worry, just hadn't updated there. And again, in this situation, the game did end 2-2. So here, although we would have made a little bit of profit if I was paying more attention, we also would have made a bigger loss if I wasn't paying attention to the game, because we would have lost our full £20 stake. Now, this is the biggest loss we made from the games I was fully paying attention to. It was a 65% loss on that trade. So in terms of all them trades there, them 6, we had 2 instances where we made profit. We made 14% and 21%, but then we also had 4 instances there where we made a loss. We made 44% loss, 51% loss, 44% loss again, and 65% loss. So you can see there the losses obviously massively outweigh the wins, but 2 of them losses I arguably should have made about 5% profit from if I was paying more attention. So don't let this video put you off the laying the draw strategy, because like I've said the whole time through, this is just a bit of fun, me having a bit of an explore with this one. And then the final game, I went in for the Brentford-Liverpool game. I shouldn't have done this one. By this point, I was not in control of this. This essentially was just a bet. And to back that up, as the game went on and stayed at a draw, I think it was 2-2 at the point, I put a bet on for the game to end a draw, because I thought, I think it will. I think it was when the game went to 3-2, I put that bet on because I thought, yeah, I think this will end in a draw now. I've got no doubt about that. So in that situation, I should have cashed out in this trade if I was that confident a draw was going to happen. But the way I kind of timed this was to give me £20 if it ended being a draw with a £3 bet. I did cash out because the third goal had a bit of a VAR check, so I was like, I'll quickly get this money out just in case. So I did manage to get a little bit less of a profit there, which is why in terms of the total profit and loss for this, although I'll be including it on my monthly spreadsheet as a trade because it was a trade, it was just me being stupid, I will not include it in like the stats at the end of this video as a summary, because this wasn't a fully thought out trade. I'd even bet against it happening over here, so I'm not going to class that as a trade. But just to show you guys what happened throughout the game, Brentford took the lead. Obviously that doesn't help with the profit because Brentford were not the favourites for this game. Liverpool got back into it, which did help the profit. We then had a 2-1 scoreline in favour of Liverpool, which did help the profit there yet again. Then the 2-2 came from Brentford, which cut out the profit. And I believe this is where I just decided to then go place the bet over here. And I then lost interest in the trade. So in the end, with the game finishing 3-3, I lost the full £20 and 2 pence in that situation. I lost 100% of the stake because at this point I was just having some bets on. I wasn't trading. So although I thought I'd include this just to show you guys what happens to the profit and losses depending on who scores and who doesn't, I'm not going to include that as a trade for this video. So then, just to show you guys the full trades over here, the full profit and losses of all the games, you can see them all here, all set out very nicely, including the Liverpool game. We lost £53.75. But like I said, I'm not going to include that in the stats for this trading video because I wasn't paying attention for that one. So with the rest of the games, we made a loss of £33.73, which from the £120 worth of stakes that were put on them games, we made a 30% loss on all them trades in total. So definitely not a good return at all. We made a 30% loss, but I didn't expect this to go this well in a weird way because of the fact that I didn't know I was going out drinking and things. I probably should have done this on a different weekend, and like I said, maybe we can do that as a live stream option one day instead. But I think if I'd have thought things through a bit more, we probably could have turned 2 of them losses into about a 5% profit, which would have massively helped this. I don't know if we would have still been positive at the end of the weekend, at the end of the week, the games that have gone on, but I think we could have definitely stood a chance at generating some profit from this. Obviously, it's not a viable strategy doing this many games because you can't pay attention to all of them unless you've got like 50 screens, but it was definitely a bit of fun having a bit of play around with. If you guys want to see more videos like this, please do let me know down in the comments. Hit the like button and the subscribe button too so you don't miss out when they come out, because I'm definitely going to do some more of these. Even if we do just do it as a live stream for a bit of a laugh. I quite enjoyed trying to micromanage everything. Maybe if we really want to push the boat out, we'll do it for a championship 3 o'clock kickoffs, because that would be, well, that I wouldn't know what's going on with that. That would blow my mind, but there might be some good opportunity there to fluke our way into some profit. But if you've enjoyed the video, like I said, please hit the like button. It makes a huge difference. Let me know what you think of all the poor decisions I made in this. Please, no one take this too seriously. But thank you for watching yet again. I'll see you guys next time.